Hello and welcome to this, the 12th of Ovid's Heroides. This is a letter from Medea to her husband Jason. Jason has already been the recipient of a letter number 6, I think, from Hypsipyle, who he abandoned when she was pregnant with twins. I think we may have established during 6 that he was quite the keeper. And Hypsipyle wished in her final moments of that letter that his next wife, Medea, would end up abandoned in exactly the same way that she has been. Well, sometimes wishes can come true, because here you go. Medea begins by asking why Jason ever came to Colchis, that's where she is from, why he came to her home looking for the fleece. This echoes the speech that the nurse gives at the beginning of Euripides' play Medea, where she says, would that the ship had never sailed, the Argo had never sailed to Colchis. And so it's a little kind of hat tip from Ovid there to Euripides, who obviously wrote the most famous version of Medea's story. Lines 11 and 12, she says, why was your golden hair too delightful to me, and your beauty and your ready lies? Oh dear, it turns out barbarian women really do prefer blondes. And obviously Jason is handsome and plausible. That doesn't seem to be in any doubt at all. Medea should never have helped him, she says, when she had the power to, because now she doesn't have the power to help him. He has simply found someone new who does have that power. Wherever he goes, he basically falls for whoever is, or purports to fall for, whoever is the daughter of somebody important there, thus meaning he is always on the make. Lines 31 and 32, she says, as soon as I began to know you, that was the beginning of my destruction. It's baked in with Jason. There's no possibility that they would ever have had a happier life, which is interesting when we come to what she wants later on. She says, your eyes cost me my vision. She's so lost, dazzled by his beauty that she doesn't see straight. And you knew it, you traitor, she says, because who can hide love? It's interesting that she presents herself as this sort of innocent girl in this version of her story. We do see versions of Medea where she is like that, but she's always kind of dual. She's an innocent young girl who helps a visiting adventurer and ends up getting stitched up, just like Ariadne or other young women in Greek myth. But she's also an extremely powerful witch. So she is both of those things at the same time, as we're about to find out. Line 40 and following, she says, she describes the tasks which Jason is going to have to carry out. This is what he has to do in order to try and get the Golden Fleece. Her father has said he's going to have to plough a field with fire-breathing oxen. Those are easily the most dangerous kind, in case you were wondering. And then he has to sow seeds, instead of seeds, dragon's teeth, from which these earth-born warriors will arise. We know this version from the Harryhausen movie where they're skeletons. They're not skeletons, sadly, in earlier versions. They're giant, I think, in Apollonius of Rhodes, Argonautica, but Ovid doesn't mention them being skeletons here. But why not? They look cool. So let's say yes they are. And then there's the unsleeping snake which guards the fleece. In the Harryhausen version, of course, that snake, I think, bites Medea and she has to be revived by the fleece. Rest assured, this Medea is not going to get bitten by no snake. Well, I suppose just Jason. So he's got these tasks, Jason's got these tasks to perform, and Medea decides that she will help him. They meet at night in a temple of Diana. He swears that he'll be hers. He swears by Juno, who's the goddess of marriage. Medea was puellae simplicis, she says, just an innocent girl. But as we've discussed, one with magic powers. So she gives him a potion which makes him fireproof, essentially. Inadusto, line 93 is the word for fireproof, in case you were wondering. So the bulls can't kill him with their fire breathing. The earthborn warriors spring up. They're fully armed straight away. It is like Harryhausen with their swords and shields, but they turn on each other. This is obviously some kind of whammy that Medea has put on them. In an earlier version, I think it's in Apollonius, but it may be in Pindar, she tells Jason that he needs to lob a rock into the middle of them, and then they'll all kill each other trying to get to the... I don't know why they like rocks so much. I guess they've just come from the earth, so maybe that's what looks familiar to them. I don't know. I'm afraid we've gone outside the bounds of my knowledge. I don't know why earthborn warriors really like a rock. Just don't know. And then the dragon's teeth obviously bring up these warriors. Then the snake arrives, which is always a lovely moment. The giant sleepless snake. Where's your rich dowry now? She says to him. It's no good having a rich girl, which is what he's gone for now, when you're being, on the receiving end of a giant snake. What you need is somebody who can do something with that snake. It was me, she says, now made a barbarian by you, now made a pauper by you, to you, now hateful, hurtful to you. It was me who put that fiery-eyed snake to sleep with my potion, and I gave you the fleece. So here's the thing. It's Medea who does all the heroic tasks in this version. I should say this is a complete reflection of what we have as well in Apollonius and in Euripides and a little bit in Pindar. It's Medea who does all the heroic stuff. We're used to the Harryhausen version where it's Jason all the way. No, simply not the case. She is the hero here. She does all the heroic things. And now it's such an interesting phrase, she says, I've been made a barbarian by you or to you. She was always a barbarian. He was always Greek. She was always barbarian. This is a source of discussion for them in Euripides as well. But he didn't see her maybe as a barbarian before. Now he's found himself a nice Corinthian wife. Now she's a barbarian, and that's what hurts. She says, I betrayed my father, I abandoned my country, and my reward is exile. I abandoned my mother, my sister, and then line 113, she says, but I didn't leave my brother behind. I can't write this bit. She says, my hand dared to do it, but it doesn't dare to write it. She is referencing the fact that when they leave, Medea is being pursued by her father, who doesn't want to lose the golden fleece, and perhaps also his daughter. And she kills her younger brother, whose name is Absyrtus, or sometimes Absyrtus, and dismembers him and throws his body parts into the sea to slow her father down while he collects them. It is one of the great moments in one of the great monologues in all of theatre in Euripides, where she says, it's all right for you, you've all got husbands and fathers and brothers to look after you. And you're like, you did have a brother, and then you made him into a kit form of a brother, so it is a little bit your fault. No one ever says that. She says, I should have been torn apart. That's the closest she can come to saying what happened. I should have been torn apart, and you as well, she says. Her poor brother, huh? And then she wishes that she and Jason had died at sea, care of the Symplegades, the clashing rocks which crush boats that try to pass them, but they're stilled when Jason goes through them. Or by Scylla, we know her best, obviously, for being parked opposite Charybdis. She has dog heads in the Odyssey, which eat people, sailors. She says, why would I mention Peleus, line 129, for unfortunately my numbers are incredibly illegible, as indeed are many of my letters. She says, why would I mention Peleus? Other people might blame me for that, but you should praise me, instead of which you banish me. Peleus was a great enemy of Jason. He and Medea, on their way home with the fleece, stop off to Peleus's kingdom, and she persuades, it is the most incredible sleight of hand, she persuades Peleus's devoted daughters that their aging father would be in better nick if they chopped him up, put him in a cauldron, boiled him, and then he would come out rejuvenated. And she does this by getting an old ram and doing exactly that, and then basically doing a sleight of hand, and a new shiny sheep comes out, and they go, oh great, that will work with our dad. And there's a fantastic vase painting with a really perky looking ram on it and a really perturbed looking old man. And things are about to go very bleak for him. She says, you've banished me. Instead of praising me, you've banished me. And she has left with their children, their sons. And after leaving, she hears music from a wedding, which sounds to her like it's coming from a funeral. I love that suggestion, these two consecutive lines, which suggest that Medea's perception, and she knows it, is off. She hears wedding songs, but for her it's a funeral, and she can tell. It's their younger son who tells her that it's Jason getting married. He's never said anything to either her or to their children. She says that at line 157, I love this moment, she says she wanted to kind of break into the wedding ceremony and shout, Meus est, he's mine, give it the full graduate, why wouldn't you? 163, she says, I've had power over bulls and snakes, but I can't dominate this single man. I can't sleep, 169 and following. 171, she says, I could put a dragon to sleep, but I can't put myself to sleep. She's got all this power, but somehow it's drained away. And then the bitterness really kicks in. She says, the limbs I saved, some whore is embracing. She's enjoying the fruits of my labour. And then she calls his wife stulti mariti, your stupid wife. Medea is extremely clever, and everyone says so all the time. Being stupid is absolutely something she can't tolerate. She has a sword, fire, poison. She says, no enemy of mine will go unpunished. But now Medea is a supplicant, as Jason once was. Think of the children, she says. If you don't want to think about me, think of them. He obviously doesn't care very much about them, or he wouldn't be banishing them. I want you, she says, who I deserve, who gave yourself to me. It's kind of interesting, isn't it? After everything she said about him, she still does want him. What's my dowry? She says, that golden fleece was my dowry. 2 sospes was my dowry. You, safe, that was my dowry. She says, I might regret what I'm going to do, but I already regret caring for an unfaithful man. We, of course, know from the myth that Medea is going to do something horrendous. She's going to kill their children in order to punish Jason. In Euripides, she says she's going to hurt herself twice as much as she hurts him, but it's still worth it. Medea's absolute abiding belief is that nobody should be able to take advantage of her and not be punished, and that is the version of her that Ovid shows us here. Next week we have got a lovely love story where no children die, so hooray! I'll see you next time for Laodamia. Laodamia. Bye for now.